Hey everybody, it's the 14th of December. It's day 14 of the Dream Whiskies Advent Calendar promotion. Good to see you. How's your day been? It's Friday, which means of course it's the end of the week. And the end of the week all across the world is a good time for everybody really. What are you going to be doing this weekend? Hopefully you're going to be getting out there, seeing some people, do some Christmas shopping and maybe making some cocktails as well. Who knows? Who knows? So what have we got for you today? Well, let's have a look. The first thing I'm going to do is I just want to tell you I got an email from one of our players, one of our watchers, a guy called Tim Hodge. If you're there, how you doing? Tim did a variation of one of the cocktails that I did earlier in the week. So I don't know if you remember, but previous broadcast, we did a iced baked apple cocktail. And he got in touch with me and he said, how would this work if you actually heated up the apple juice so it became a hot drink? I said, well, it should work absolutely fine. So he did it, he tried it, he sent me an email, sent me a picture, which I'm going to put on our Facebook page. And he said it's an absolute hit, a real success. So thank you for that. Let's say hello to a few people. So who's with us? Jason, how are you doing? And Hugh, good to see you. Norman, yeah, I'm good, thank you, Norman. How are you doing? Happy Friday to you, Jonathan. Alan, hey, how you doing? Lucy Downs, of course, and Barry, who's not here. Or are you here? Maybe you're here today. So today's going to be a short, sharp, sweet one, but actually something really good. So we don't have any sort of giveaways today in terms of prizes. We're going to get back to those tomorrow, but I have a really interesting cocktail for you. It's a recipe that I was working on actually some years ago when I was working with a lady who is an Indian chef, and she was putting together a book of Indian recipes, and we were working on this project to do cocktails that would match Indian food. And this is a cocktail which is entirely different to anything that I've done for you to date, and probably completely different to anything you've probably tried before. But it's a fabulous drink. And if you've got an open mind and you want to try new drink experiences, this one's for you. I call it a night in Bombay. So this is a night in Bombay. Who else is with us? Who else have we got? Bob Brown, good afternoon. Nice to see you. And Barry, thank you. No, you are not here, which I'm pleased to hear as well. Okay, so let me move my glass just out the way. Let's get it over here for now. And let me show you how we work. There's a few stages to this drink. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to take my glass, and I'm just going to bring my chopping board up here. And on my chopping board, I have a red chili. I've already split this one in half, but one of these, there you go, a red chili. Now this isn't like a bird's eye red chili, so it's not the super hot ones, but this is sort of a medium heat red chili. And what I've done is I've split it in half. I'm going to leave one half for a little bit later on, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm just going to cut it into a few bits. I don't need the whole of the half, but I want about 6 to 8 pieces of the chili. And I'm going to take those pieces and I'm going to put them into our mixing glass. So probably for many of you, this first ingredient is already going to be, excuse me, it's already going to be something that you haven't necessarily seen in a cocktail before. Now we want to release some of the flavor of these chilies. And what I'm going to do to help me do that is I'm going to add some white wine vinegar. And you might think, vinegar? What place does vinegar have in a cocktail? Well, actually, by putting the white wine vinegar in, it helps to release some of the flavor of the chili. And actually, it gives it a bit of sharpness and a bit of bite that we want. It's not going to be overpowering, as you'll see. But for now, I'm just going to put enough in to make that wet. So I don't know, about 10 mil, something like that. And then I'm going to take a pestle. Now, this is a pestle. This is probably the sort of thing that many of you have seen before. I'm not actually going to use this one, but you can use something like this. But I've got this pretty smart one here, and this one here has quite a big flat base to it, and that really helps me crush these up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crush those chilies in the bottom of the glass. I'm giving them a good squeeze, which is going to help the flavor of the chili infuse with the vinegar that's in there, and of course it's going to help the heat also escape the chili and infuse into the vinegar, which is also going to eventually get into our drink. Now that's enough. Just going to give that a quick rinse in my sink and put it to the side. Now I don't actually want all of the vinegar in here. So now that I've crushed it up, I'm going to take my strainer and I'm going to strain some of that liquid off. And I'm just going to do it nice and easy. Now, I've come over here because I've got a sink here, and I'm just going to lose some of it down there. That's good. So what I'm left with is just the chilies, and you can see the chilies are sitting in a little bit of that vinegar that we've just infused. Right, before I go any further, let's see who else has joined us. Hugh. What, not even any socks? No socks today, Hugh, but honestly, come back tomorrow and we've got something cool for you tomorrow. Hope you're using Indian whiskey. As it happens, you're going to see I'm not using Indian whiskey, but there's a reason for that. Nice bit of spice, yes, absolutely, Richie. Gary, how you doing? And John from, BC again. Nice to see you. Okay, so we've got our chilies and they've infused, and now we want to go on to the next stage of our cocktail. So the next stage of our cocktail is this. I'm going back to a whiskey that I've used on the previous cocktail, which is this Laphroaig quarter cask. And the reason why I'm using this particular whiskey is that it is a soft and smooth and rounded Islay whiskey. So it has peatiness, but it's not over peaty, and it has fruitiness. And that little quarter cask that you can see on the label, which is the small cask they use to finish off the maturation period, that really rounds this off and really smooths it. It's such a beautiful whiskey to combine with the powerful flavors that I'm putting into this cocktail. So I'm going to take my quarter cask and I'm going to put in a whole 50 ml. So in the UK, this would be equivalent to 2 shots. In the US, well, actually, I guess it depends what size shots you're using, but 50 ml in there. Now, the next ingredient that we're going to add, and goes really well with the chili, is a coconut flavor. Now, this is a Chamarel coconut liqueur. Now, I actually picked this one up from the Chamarel distillery, which is in Mauritius, when I was lucky enough to be visiting there. But you don't have to use the Chamarel. You can use other coconut liqueurs. There are lots of them on the market, but this is the one that I'm going to be using. And the coconut goes really well with the heat of the chili. And so I'm going to take my measure, and I want 25 ml of the coconut liqueur. There we go. Let's just measure that out, and we're in. And of course, the coconut liqueur adds a certain amount of sweetness as well as the flavor of the coconut. Who else has joined us? We have Maria. How are you doing? Lisa, good morning. Lisa, you in the United States? I guess it is the morning for you. David, back again. Norman, one of your favorites. You mean the Laphroaig? Big thumbs up for you. And Cheryl, good to see you back with us also. Let me just wipe this down a little bit. So we've got the chili with the vinegar. We have the whiskey in there, obviously, and the coconut. Now, I want another flavor in there, and the flavor that I'm going to use is vanilla. Now, this is my vanilla vodka. Some of you might have seen this before, but this is a vanilla vodka that I made myself. So I took a bottle of Blue Label Smirnoff. I added a vanilla pod, and I just let it infuse over a number of weeks. But of course, you can buy vanilla vodka. You don't have to make it yourself. So along with the 25 of the coconut that we have, and also the 50 of the whiskey, we're going to add 25 of this vanilla vodka. And I say vanilla vodka rather than a vanilla liqueur because I don't want any more sweetness from the alcohol now. I just want it to be neutral spirit, but with a lot of flavor from the vanilla. So we're almost there. We're almost at the point where I'm ready to shake this cocktail, but I want one other archetypally Indian ingredient in there. And what I'm going to take is a little bit of this. Now, this is a brand called Geeta's, but it's not the brand that you're looking for. It's what's in the jar. And what I've got here is some nice fruity and spicy mango chutney. So that's what you're looking for. Again, you don't have to go for this brand, but I have to say this brand is particularly nice. And I'm just going to take my bar spoon, which I have over here, and I'm just going to take 1 bar spoon of the mango chutney, and I can really smell that. It's going to give it so much in terms of Indian character as far as our cocktail is concerned. So let that just going to shake my spoon off in the mixture like that, and we are good. So now we are ready to combine all the ingredients. I'm going to put some ice in here in a second. Let's see if anyone else has joined us. Lorraine, how are you doing? Lisa, yes you are. Good, thanks. I really appreciate you actually getting up early and joining us. Actually, it's not super early. It depends whether you're on the east or the west coast, I imagine. But if it's the morning, well, actually morning still on the east coast as well, isn't it? And Dennis, how are you doing? Francis, like your bar spoon? Yes, you can buy that bar spoon from a company called Urban Bar. Just go to urbanbar.com and that can be your own bar spoon. And David has put no to the mango chutney. To stay with it, see what happens. Right, ice. We need ice in here now. So I'm going to get ice from my ice bin just down here. I'm going to take my shaker and I'm going to shake it. Now, just a quick word. Going back to the video I did on bar hacks when I said that you can throw ingredients if you don't have shakers but you've got glasses. Actually, with something like this, you really do need to shake it and it won't mix as well if you're just going to throw from glass to glass. So you really need to find something with a screw top if you're going to make this at home and you don't have a shaker. So anyway, let's put it on top and I want to shake this really hard. So here we go. See how we're doing. You can probably see all the bits and pieces in there floating around. Those are the chilies. I want to give it some more. Okay, and now we are done. Now it's not going to be enough to just simply use my strainer with this because otherwise all the bits and pieces that are in there from the mango chutney and the chili are going to end up in the glass and that's not what I want. So I'm going to take my fine strainer. I've got my strainer over the shaker. I've got my fine strainer, which essentially is like a tea strainer, and I'm going to pour it through there. So here we go. Let's pour. And it's looking nice. And it's smelling good. And I can even smell the heat coming off of it. What you're going to end up with here is not a burning hot cocktail, but you're going to end up with something which is wonderfully warming, incredibly aromatic, reminiscent of those wonderful Indian flavors that we get with Indian cuisine, and of course something that's going to give you an entirely unique drinking experience. So our cocktail is more or less done, but we do want a garnish, and of course the obvious garnish is going to be the red chili. So the other half of the red chili that I kept before, I'm actually just going to cut out the seeds that sit down the middle. Let's cut that out like this and take it out of the half of the chili that I'm using. And then I'm just going to pop that in and let it hang over the edge of the glass. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our cocktail for the day, absolutely exclusive to you. I haven't even published this cocktail yet, so you're getting a complete advance notice on this. And that is what we call a night in Bombay. Now, before I tell you about tomorrow and the times for tomorrow, let's see who else is with us. Mike, delighted that you made it. How are you doing? Lucy, 11 a.m. in South Carolina. Okay, so it's the morning, but just coming up to lunch for you. Maybe you can have one of these for lunch. Why am I thinking of Afir gin, says Barry. This could work really nicely with something like Afir. Afir being really aromatic gin as it is would sit nicely in this cocktail. It's a good idea. Maria, you love the cocktail. We love the fact that you love the cocktail. And John says, Friday rain day, we'll be trying this at the pub in my cellar. Your own pub in your cellar. Well, go for it and let us know how you get on. I'm going to taste it for you now. Tell you what I think. And it's delicious. And it's fruity. And it's smoky. So you're getting the peat coming off the whiskey, the Lafroy that's in there. And the heat is there as well. It's an entirely beautiful, warming, well-balanced Indian-style cocktail. And if you drink this on its own, as a winter drink, it will warm you up in the evening. And actually, if you put it on the side when you're having a plate of Indian food, it goes absolutely beautiful with that as well. Look, thank you very much for being with us today. Tomorrow, we are going to be, so tomorrow's Saturday, tomorrow's going to be a later one. So it's going to be 6 p.m. That's 6 in the evening, UK time, which I think is 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern time, US, and hopefully the rest of you can work out where that is across the rest of the world. So be with us there. Going to have a little prize giveaway tomorrow, so something for one of you to win from us. The only other thing I've got to ask you, and I've asked you this before, but please do click on the share. If you share, it means more people get to see what we do, which is only good for Dream Whiskies, which is good for you back in return. So before I go, any other comments here? Mia, lovely. Yes, thank you very much. And Thomas Magnuson, here now in Östersund, but just in time to hear me say goodbye, good night, Have a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you at 6 p.m. on Saturday tomorrow.